I'm Laura, 34. The rhythmic ticking of the workshop clock fills the air as I run my fingers over the smooth surface of the mahogany desk. It's a piece I once restored for a man I thought was my father. Now, it stands as a silent witness to the truth that shattered my world. 2 weeks ago, I sat in a car, watching through the window as the FBI agents swarmed the Ravenswood Country Club. Laughter had echoed from the terrace just moments before, but now it was replaced by gasps and chaos. My so-called father, Mr. Thompson, a real estate tycoon, stood there in his crisp white polo, his face a mask of confusion and then anger. "What the hell is this?" he roared as two agents approached. "Mr. Thompson, Mrs. Thompson, you're under arrest for the kidnapping of Laura Carver 35 years ago," one of the agents said, his voice steady and loud. Mrs. Thompson, my stepmother, began sobbing, mascara bleeding down her cheeks. "We just wanted a child," she cried. I whispered from the car, "You stole me." It all started on the night of Mr. Thompson's 70th birthday party. The ballroom was filled with the rich and the famous, the air thick with the scent of champagne and the sound of crystal glasses clinking. I was an art restorer, a quiet disappointment in the eyes of my family. While they smelled of money and legacy, I smelled like varnish and old books. Mr. Thompson raised his glass, smiled for the cameras, and then, out of nowhere, slapped me across the face. The room froze. "You're a disgrace to the family name, Laura," he roared. "I'm cutting you from the $230 million will." The guests gasped, phones were lifted, and flashes exploded. I felt humiliated, my body trembling. I grabbed my clutch and pushed through the crowd. Outside, the snow was falling softly, muting the city's noise. My breath shook, my cheek burned, and mascara dripped onto my gloves. By the time I got home, the video of the incident had gone viral. I locked my apartment door, slid down to the floor, and screamed until my throat went raw. Staring at my reflection in the window, the bruise forming along my jawline, I whispered, "You're free now. You're free." But I didn't believe it. The next morning, there was a knock on my door. 3 precise knocks that made my coffee tremble in the mug. At first, I thought it was the reporters. A woman's calm and professional voice called, "Miss Thompson, we're here on behalf of your biological father." I froze. Biological father? I opened the door just a few inches. Standing there were 3 people who looked like they'd stepped out of a courtroom drama. A tall woman with silver, streaked hair tied neatly back, flanked by 2 men in immaculate suits. The woman extended a business card. "I'm Ms. Davis, senior partner at Davis and Clark LLP. May we come in?" I hesitated, but then stepped aside. My apartment, small and cluttered with art supplies, suddenly felt like a confession booth. Ms. Davis took a seat at my kitchen table and folded her hands. "My colleagues are Mr. Miller and Mr. Brown. We represent Mr. Henry Carver." "Who?" I asked, half disbelief, half hysteria. "He's your biological father, Miss Thompson. He's been searching for you for 35 years, she said. I laughed. "You've got the wrong person. My father is Mr. Thompson." Ms. Davis exchanged a glance with Mr. Brown. He opened a leather briefcase and placed a thin file on the table. My name, Laura Thompson, was printed neatly on the tab. This file contains records from the Portland Police Department. A missing child case from June 1990, a 6-month-old female infant named Laura Carver, Ms. Davis said, sliding the file toward me. I felt a twist in my stomach. "That's not me." Ms. Davis's eyes softened. "Your DNA says otherwise." Then she pulled out a photograph. A young couple smiling in a park, holding a baby wrapped in a yellow blanket. The man had dark hair and green eyes, and the woman had my smile. This was taken 2 weeks before the kidnapping. "The bracelet on the baby's wrist look familiar?" she asked. I glanced down at my own wrist. The small silver bracelet I'd worn since childhood, engraved with a tiny train engine, glimmered in the morning light. "No," I whispered. "My father gave me this. He said it was a family heirloom." Ms. Davis's voice gentled. "It was just not his family's." Something inside me cracked. The room seemed to fold in on itself, and I sank into the chair. Ms. Davis continued, "On June 14, 1990, you were taken from Laurelhurst Park in Portland, Oregon. While your nanny was distracted by a woman asking for directions, you were kidnapped. Your step-mother, Mrs. Thompson, matches the age, progressed composite of the suspect the police had 35 years ago. The FBI reopened the case 3 months ago after a DNA match appeared in a genealogy database. That match was you." I felt the blood drain from my face. "You're saying she kidnapped me?" "Yes," Ms. Davis said softly. "She and Mr. Thompson falsified adoption documents through a closed agency in Mexico and paid off a clerk to backdate everything." Mr. Brown opened a separate folder and produced a birth certificate. My real birth certificate. "Your biological mother was Lily Carver, a teacher. Your father, Henry, is an aerospace engineer. He spent the last 3 decades building one of the largest renewable energy corporations in the U.S. and searching for you. MS." Davis said. I stared at the photo of Henry and Lily in front of a small house, holding a baby. My baby self. "I don't understand. Why me?" I whispered. Ms. Davis continued. "Your nanny at the time, Mrs. Green, confessed on her deathbed that she was paid $50,000 to look away for 5 minutes. She thought it was a private adoption, not a kidnapping. When she realized what had happened, she was too terrified to come forward." Mr. Miller spoke for the first time, his voice kind but firm. Mr. Carver never gave up hope. He updated his will every year, leaving a place for his daughter in case she was ever found. "Laura, that daughter is you. His estate is valued at over $2 billion, but that's not why we're here. He just wants to see his child again." Tears welled in my eyes. Ms. Davis said, "He's waiting downstairs, Laura. If you're ready, he'd like to meet you." My heart stopped. For a long moment, I couldn't move. Finally, I whispered, "Okay, I'll meet him." We rode the elevator in silence. When the doors opened, the morning light flooded in. Standing near the building's entrance was a man in a dark gray coat. His silver hair glimmered faintly under the lobby lights, and his eyes carried 35 years of loss. When he saw me, he froze. "Laura," he whispered. I choked back tears. I think so." He took a hesitant step forward. "You still have the bracelet?" I looked down at the bracelet. "You gave me this?" He nodded. "Your mother picked it out. She said you'd love the sound of trains. I wore the matching one every day, hoping I'd see you wearing yours again." When his arms went around me, something inside me cracked open. He smelled faintly of cedar and rain, like a home I'd never known but had always been missing. He said, "Your mother passed 5 years ago, but she never stopped believing you were alive. She left something for you, letters, journals, and she kept your nursery untouched all those years." I covered my face and sobbed. Weeks passed, and life became a strange mix of freedom and mourning. The court summoned me to testify during Mr. and Mrs. Thompson's trial. When I walked into the courtroom, all eyes turned. Mr. Thompson sat at the defense table, his silver hair perfectly combed, but the arrogance was gone. Mrs. Thompson looked smaller, her hands shaking in her lap. "State your name for the record," the clerk said. I took a breath. "Laura Eleanor Carver." The room went still. Mr. Thompson's eyes lifted toward me, a flicker of disbelief and maybe shame. The prosecutor began, "Miss Carver, can you tell the court what you remember about your upbringing?" I swallowed hard. I remember being told love came with conditions, that success meant obedience, and that affection had to be earned. But now I know that wasn't love. It was control. Mr. Thompson's jaw tightened. Mrs. Thompson started to cry softly. "I'm sorry, Laura." I turned to her. "My name is Laura Carver." I continued. "I used to think my father's approval was the only thing that mattered. But love that destroys someone's spirit isn't love at all. You didn't raise me. You stole my life." Mr. Thompson stood up. "I wanted to give you a life better than the one you would have had." The judge's gavel slammed. "Mr. Thompson, sit down." I met his eyes. "You didn't give me life. You stole it." His face crumpled, and he sank back down. After the trial, I sold my apartment in Chicago. Henry offered me anything I wanted, but I told him I needed to build something myself. So I reopened a workshop in Portland, which I called Lily's Hands. Sometimes Henry visits. He sits quietly, watching as I restore antique pieces. One afternoon, he handed me a small velvet box. Inside was the matching silver bracelet, the one he'd worn for 35 years. "I think they should be together again," he said softly. I clasped it next to mine, feeling the cool metal against my skin. "I'm not Laura Thompson anymore. I'm Laura Eleanor Carver, and I'm building a life with my own hands, just like my mother always believed I could."